StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how to sell books independently. Before we get into this, I'll remind you of two things. First of all, my daily motivation and Monday motivation text messages will come out every day and week, respectively, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point. Once we start sending those messages out again, you will want to be in this community. It is free to join. All you got to do is text me at my number, 305-384-6894. And once those messages are going out again, you'll know about it and you'll be getting them. You'll hear from our bot immediately, and then you'll be hearing from me on a regular basis. And you can choose exactly how often you want to hear from me/us with those messages. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That is the place where I do all my coaching. If you'd like to work with me directly, have me as your direct coach, you'd like to get on live calls with me and be able to share with me what you're working on, what you're doing, what your challenges are, where you are completely lost, where you don't even know what questions that you need to be asking, but you know there is a question that needs to be answered. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can have me as your direct coach, and guaranteed you will take yourself to a higher level as long as you are actively engaging, hopping on the calls, learning from us, watching the replays, getting into the trainings, getting into the courses, getting into the material. All of that is available to you as a member of Work on Your Game University. Just go to the link down below, workonyourgameuniversity.com, or you just type it into your favorite browser. It's pretty easy to remember. A little bit long, but easy to remember. Now, with that out the way, let's get into the topic here today, which again is how to sell books independently. Now, there are many authors who listen to this show. Many of you, maybe some of you who are not yet authors, but maybe at some point you will become one. And some of you are in the process of becoming an author right now. You're writing your book right now. Maybe you got a book that you want to launch. Maybe you have books that have already come out and you want to sell more of them. And as it becomes easier and easier to write and publish our own books without going through the gatekeepers of the traditional publishing world, today I'm going to tell you the high-level steps that you need to follow in order to sell books as an independent, self-published, or independently published author. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you this up front. Everything I'm going to tell you here today can apply to independently selling pretty much anything. I'm just going to use books as an example. Books are going to be my canvas, but you can use this to sell anything independently that you have and is yours. So you can use this to sell courses, coaching, donuts, lemonade, handmade arts and crafts, and anything in between. Again, I'm just using books as a canvas here, but you could use this actually for any product or service. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is how to sell books independently. Number one, build a list. Well, a list of what? And what's a list? What do I mean when I say a list? Well, a list means, and I mean this in a specific context, so not just a list like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A list is a group of people who have given you permission to contact them about your comings and goings, your offers, your products, and your services. So when I say a list, I mean in a specific context, in a business context. A list means the people who have given permission specifically to you around your business to contact them and tell them what you have going on. That's the list. So the way that someone becomes a member of your list is by giving you their contact information. That can be an email address, that can be a phone number, that can be a physical address. Those are the ways as of today that you can contact someone directly. Now, yes, their Instagram name or their Snap address, those are also possible ways that you can contact the person, but those do not count as your list. So your YouTube subscribers, if you have 1,000 YouTube subscribers and 1,000 email subscribers, your list is not 2,000 people. Your list is 1,000 because it's a reflection of the email list, not the YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel is not a reflection of your list because you do not control it. You do not have direct access to it, and you must go through YouTube to access those people. It is not yours. So when I say your list, the key word there is your, meaning you have direct access and direct contact and no one can block you from reaching them. That's the list that belongs to you. Any list that you have to go through someone else to access is not yours. Everybody got it? There's no way that you can go on YouTube and download all the direct contact information of all your subscribers. It is not available. YouTube doesn't make it available and they never will. Why? Because if they did, you wouldn't need YouTube. Right? They keep that access to go through them because that's the way they keep control of you. And you can take out YouTube's name and apply it to every other social platform: Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, etc. They all do the same thing. They're not going to give you that information because then you could cut them out of the situation and then they can't make any money. So they wouldn't let you do that. That's literally their business, is protecting that access and keeping you going through them in order to get to it. So your lists are people who have given you directly their physical address, their email address, and or phone number, at least one of the three. Ideally, you get all three. As of today's recording, those are the main ways you can contact the person without actually physically shaking their hand. So when someone gives you these pieces of information intentionally, they're officially part of your list. Okay? When they have given you that information, or you have obtained it in a way that is actually legal, they're part of your list. Your job is to keep your list organized and to do two things intentionally and continuously to grow your list and continually engage your list so that the people who are on it do not forget that they're on your list. Like if you're on my email list, for example, you know you're on my email list. How do you know? Because I'm emailing you on a consistent basis. Right? You're hearing from me consistently, so you know you're on my email list, and you also know if you want to leave, you can leave. But you know that it's me. You didn't forget. If you get an email from me today or tomorrow, you won't forget, like, damn, how did Dre get my email address? Well, you may forget how you gave it to me, but you know that you're on the list because you're getting emails, right? So when you have a list, you can't let it go cold, as we say, which means you have people, but you haven't been contacting them. So they might forget. If you just pop up 6 months from now with a message, they might forget who you are and where you came from and how you got their information. And they may end up leaving just because they forgot that they even knew you in the first place. That's why continually engaging with your list matters. So don't forget about them and don't let them forget about you. Because if they forget about you, again, they're not going to be receptive to whatever it is that you have to say, especially if you're trying to get them to do something because they forgot that there was a relationship. It's like you don't talk to a cousin or a family member for 10 years and then they pop up and now they just want to ask you to do something. It's like, well, there's no relationship here. You got to warm this up before anything happens. That pretty much works in any relationship. There's a certain amount of warm up necessary before the activity begins, whatever the activity is. Some people need more warm up than others, but all human beings, at least we at least got to pretend that there's some kind of warm up before something happens for the most part. So if you're on my email list, as I said, you know I send emails on a regular basis. That keeps you engaged. You are not going to forget that I exist. If you're in my text message community, when we are sending text, you'll know that you're in it because you're going to hear from me on a regular basis. And this way, again, you're keeping the list warm. So if you're going to sell books, you're going to sell courses or anything like that, you're going to need an audience of people who will actually buy your stuff. Those are the people on your list. So as long as you continually stay engaged with them, they at least know who you are. So they're at least somewhat open to hearing what you have to say. It doesn't guarantee they're going to buy, but at least they will hear what you have to say. Now, if they're not even hearing you, then it's impossible for them to buy. So that's why the list matters. So again, people on your list are your future and your current and your past customers, but hopefully future and current as well, because they should be buying actively. And this way, you need to go through you need not go through a social media platform or a retail platform like Amazon, for example, to sell your stuff. You don't want anyone to be in between you and direct access to your customers. If you have to go through another platform to get access to your people, they are not your people. If all your sales are happening on Amazon, well, Amazon owns your business, because if Amazon decides to stop showing your product to potential customers, then you can't make any sales. So Amazon really has more control over your business than you. Everybody understand that? Doesn't mean you can't have your products available on Amazon. Doesn't mean you can't sell anything on Amazon. But if Amazon gatekeeps your access to your customers, then they own you. They own your business. Does anybody not understand that? Okay, so my books, if you're watching this on video, you see all these books behind me? All these books are available on Amazon. You can find any book of mine on Amazon, and you can pay the price that we set on Amazon. But I never, ever, ever send anybody to Amazon to buy my books. You know why I never send anyone to Amazon to buy my books? Because I don't want Amazon gatekeeping my access to you. If you decide to buy my book, I want direct access to you. I want to know your name. We want to have your information. And I want to be able to contact you directly, because if you buy the book from Amazon, I will not have any of your contact information. But Amazon has it. They got your name, your phone number, your email address, and your physical address, because they got to send it to you. I get that information if you buy it from me. So I'd rather you buy it from me. Now, we keep your information private. It's not going to get out, no data leaks or anything like that. And we're going to give you a better price. So why not go through us? You should go through us. We entice you to go through us because we offer you a better deal than Amazon does. and we set the deals. So we have control over the process. You should do the same thing in your business. It gives you ultimate control over your business and ultimately over your money. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how to sell books independently. This could really be selling anything. Number 2, give out samples. Now, how do you give out a sample of a book? So by samples, I mean letting people get a taste of what it is that you're offering or are soon to offer. So I don't necessarily mean you got to give away a chapter or 2 of your book. You could do that, but that's not really what I mean. So this show, for example, is a sample of what I offer as a coach. This is a sample. So if you want to know what it's like to be coached by me, listen to this show. You get a pretty good feel. And on this show, I'm talking generically because I'm giving a message to a wide audience of people. I'm not talking about anyone's specific situation. But if I can explain things in this way, you can get value from listening to me talk generically. Imagine what I can help you with when you have a specific issue and I know specifically you and specifically what you're working on and what you're trying to do and when you're trying to do it by. Now I can get even more granular. So this is an example. This is a sample that I'm giving, not example/sample of what I do as a coach. This also gives you an example of what I do as a speaker, even though my speeches they don't exactly sound like this show. As an author, even though I'm talking as opposed to writing, or a course creator. So in other material, if you're on my email list and you get emails from me, you got a pretty good feel of what my writing style is. So if you like my articles that I write via email, you'll probably like my books. If you like this show, then you'll probably like my courses. If you like this show, you'll probably like me as a coach. You get what I'm saying here? So you want to give samples out of what you are doing. So even though the topics may change, and of course the material changes, the approach and the style are not changing. And when I talk to the top people in our world, meaning our members, and I ask them, what's the main thing that really brings you to me? What do you like best about what I do? Nobody says, well, you just had the best information or you're the best mindset person, you had the best business strategy in the world, even though I'm pretty good at those things. The things that most of the time people say, they're saying, well, we like your delivery, I like your style, I like that you're direct, I like that you don't waste time, I like that you can really help me with clarity, you answer the questions, you are rarely at a loss for helping me out with what I need. Those are the things that people like. And this show is an example of that. So I'm giving out samples and letting you know what I'm like if you were to come deeper into our world, which is why I'm telling you every episode, I tell you how to come deeper into our world, which is to come into Work on Your Game University. So even though I talk about different topics here on the show, the approach does not change. So this gives you a sample of my communication style, my explanation style, and the way I break things down. So if any of my material on a paid level is for you, then this show will give you a pretty good idea of what the paid level is like. Because if you like the free stuff, then of course you're going to like the paid stuff. All right, if you like the stuff when I'm talking to everybody, of course you're going to like it when I'm just talking to you. So if you plan on writing books, for example, what's a sample of a book? I just told you, written material. So I write books, I sell books. This is why I don't limit myself to just doing a show like this one, because this is just audio. This is just me speaking on camera and you listening. But if I want you to read, then I got to give you some samples of written material, which is why I write emails. The email is a sample of the written side of what I do. The approach is similar to what I do when I'm speaking, but writing it down and saying it on a microphone are 2 different skills. And there are people who can write really well, but they can't get on mic and talk like this. And there are people who talk really well, but they can't sit down and write anything. I happen to have both skills. So you got to give people samples of what you're doing. So if you're writing books, you should be blogging or writing emails or articles and publishing them so people can actually see you and they can get a feel for your writing style. So if they think your writing sucks, they know not to buy your book. And if they love your writing, they know they need to buy your book or books, whatever you got. So if you're a speaker, you should probably be posting some type of material through which people can see you and hear you talk, because you're a speaker. So you want to sell something that involves you speaking to an audience. That means you need to show them you speaking to an audience. You can do that through a little 15-second video on TikTok. You could do it through a podcast that you put out every day. You could do it through YouTube videos that you record and edit and publish. But the whole point is you got to give people samples. Okay, have you ever been to a store like Costco? You see they have samples of food that they're selling, and other stores have followed in their example. They followed in their footsteps. I don't know if Costco created it, but many stores do this. And you'll even see it in Whole Foods every once in a while. Trader Joe's does it as well. They have some person, some worker, standing there at a little stand, a little kiosk in the middle of the store, and they're handing out samples of maybe some wine that they're selling or some cheese on a toothpick or something that they want to sample. And why are they giving you that sample? Because they're enticing you to buy whatever the product is. They give you a sample of it so you can buy the whole thing. That's the whole point. They're giving you a sample. Everybody follow what I'm saying here. If you listen to music, Everybody listens to music, right? Different types of music, but we all listen. What do your favorite musical artists do? They put songs out that you don't have to pay for so that you can sample their material and decide that you want to buy their album or download the album or buy a ticket to the concert, right? Now, back in the days, artists used to do this through the radio. And the radio does still exist, but nowadays, most of the time, we get to sample music through, you can watch it on YouTube. You can stream it on your streaming service, Spotify or Apple Music, which you pay a low monthly fee or maybe no monthly fee and get access to all of that stuff. So you can do all these things you can get these samples and see all these things before you make a commitment to buy. That's the whole point. These are all forms of samples. It's a free version of what someone is going to eventually try to sell to you. You, as a salesperson, need to be utilizing this. Give people a sample, let them see that you're good, then they can decide to come in fully. Moving on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to sell anything, such as books, independently. Number 3, become an entrepreneur, not just an author. This is an important point. All the points are important. This is a very important point. What I mean by this is expanding your vision beyond just selling a few products or services, and instead thinking about how you can have a complete business modeled around who you are and or what you do and or what you serve. So a complete business model here, not just selling the thing. Because see, if you just write a couple books, I don't care if you write 10, 20, 50, 100 books, and you're just selling this book, then the next book, then the next book, or a bundle of books, etc. Well, what you have is a bunch of products, and you want to understand the difference between having products and having a business. I may do a whole episode just on that concept alone. Let me write that point down while I'm thinking about it. And actually I will. So I'm going to sample it here, so there you go. So I'm going to give you a sample of that here, and then I'm going to do a full episode on the topic. So I just wrote it down in my notes here, so I know that I'm going to do a whole episode on this. So off the top, just talking about this, products are things that you sell. So a course, a book, a hot dog, a speaking gig. These are all things that you can sell. And if you're really good at selling products, you can make a full-time living, a very healthy, very, very healthy full-time living, just selling your products over and over and over again. All right, you can be in the top 10% of income earners in America, which puts you at about $130,000 and up just by selling products. All right, not very difficult to do depending on how much you're selling your stuff for. However, a business, on the other hand, means that pieces are interconnected and there is a framework and a system for how one thing leads to the next, leads to the next, leads to the next. So that the whole point here, the bigger picture of it is, you don't want to have to just go from product sale to product sale to product sale to keep your business moving. You want to have an integrated system, fully functional integrated system that moves people along on its own from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, or if someone wants to jump right in at step 5, they can do that. But you want to have a process for continually moving people through your ecosystem. And you're always going to have different people at different stages of the ecosystem, because not everybody's going to move up to step 7. Some people just want to go to step 1, but you want to have that available and in place so that you have a whole system running here, an ecosystem, not just products that you have to keep selling. And there's nothing wrong with selling products. I just told you, you can make a very good living just selling products. For many years, that's what I did. I made a very good living just selling product. Let me sell something else. Wake up the next day, some things sold. All right, cool. We made this much money yesterday. See if we can make more today. That is workable and it is doable. The thing is, if you want to elevate your vision and possibly increase your potential for what you can do for yourself and for the people you serve, then you want to think about building a business and not just having a product. So I'm going to do a whole episode on that where I flesh this concept out. Here, I'm just touching on it. So what I'm talking about here in point number 3 is becoming an entrepreneur, not just an author. And this is expanding your vision. So what I'm talking about here in point number 3, I'm going to do a whole episode on. So a book can lead to, for example, a course or a webinar, a paid webinar. That can lead to a speaking engagement. That can lead to a coaching program, which can lead to a mastermind. That can lead to a 6-day retreat in the Bahamas or whatever it is that you want to do. And again, I'm just giving you examples here, but there are many different pieces you can put in this. So when you can figure out the synergy between all of these and make them work together as a cohesive unit and make each one serve the others, now you can bring people through a journey and start building yourself a business rather than just selling a product or a service. Again, regardless how much money you make from it, you could have one product that you sell for $50,000 and you only want to sell 10 a year, so there's your $500,000. You still are in the product business until you actually start thinking like you're still a product seller, rather, until you start thinking like, how do I make this a business, and how do I create an ecosystem around this so that even when people are done with this product, they may want to move on to that, or they get done with that, they may move on to this. How do you set up a system for doing all of this? So when you have a business, everything is interconnected rather than just having one-off activities over and over and over and over again, which is not necessarily, again, a bad thing. But after you've done it for some time, you may come to realize, well, this is kind of a dead end because now I got to keep selling stuff to keep making money, and you might not want to do that. So this requires strategic thinking and long-term planning to think like an entrepreneur rather than a product salesperson. So come into Work on Your Game University, and I will work with you on how to do this. I'll coach you on how to do this. You can go through our trainings on how to do this, go through our systems on how to do it, and get on our live calls, and I will walk you through what you're doing, see what you're doing, where your issues are, and help you fix them. That's all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Also, make sure, let me recap today's class actually, then I'll tell you everything else you need to know. Topic, once again, is how to sell books or anything else independently. Number one, build a list. There's a group of people who have given you permission to contact them about your comings and goings, offers, products, and services. If you don't have a list and you don't have direct access to them, you don't have control over your business. So your list does not include any aggregator platforms such as social media, Amazon, etc. That is not a list. Those are not part of your list. Number two, give out samples. So whatever it is that you are selling for money, give people free examples of whatever it is so that they know what it's like before they come in. Number three, become an entrepreneur, not just an author. Think about how you can create a whole ecosystem around what you're doing rather than just having one-off activities and making sale after sale after sale. Again, doesn't mean you're wrong to make sales. You want the sales coming in, but you like to have things maybe systematized, even automated, to where the process is happening and running on its own in many ways rather than you having to do it all yourself from one sale to the next to the next. So with all that said, folks, again, I told you I'm going to do a whole episode on that concept moving forward. All that said, make sure you text me to be in my community. My number is down below in the description. Also, workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's where I do all my coaching. If you want to get coached on that, this, what I talked about here today, selling your stuff independently and putting a process in place for making it happen so that you can start to see these things happening even without your personal efforts all the time, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That link's down below in the description, and I will see you on the next coaching call. Work on your game. Dre, all